I rep the West to the death, but my life is better. I've shed blood, shed tears, man, I stormed bad weather. I caught an L at 19, that's a cold-ass letter. But now I'm back in the world and trying to make it better forever. They counted me out at a young age, but now I'm living proof. I'm in this booth, I'm spitting truth, you see me on the tube. The Dove Show, homies bounce and roll. The Dove Show.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. New video. I have to be honest, before I even get into the video, there's so many things that I want to say, so many directions I want to go with this video, so bear with me because I don't script any of this. I do have several notes right here, things I want to make sure I get right. Everything else, I'm going to speak from personal knowledge, so that isn't going to be wrong. But so there was a press conference yesterday. I put out a video yesterday talking about Jake Haros confessing to an inmate, a fake inmate, confidential informant, right? Admitting to supposedly accidentally killing his son and disposing of the body, right? And after I did that, there was a press conference and the DA and the sheriff had a lot to say. And because of that press conference, people were getting in my comment section telling me that my information was wrong, that me and Ahmed are putting out false information, that Gunner, I, and Ahmed are putting out false information. It was very few people doing it, right? But it was just really amazing to me to hear that. And so let's address that first, okay? So I'm going to be looking at my notes as I talk about this. So News Nation, I don't know how many of you guys know what News Nation is, who News Nation is. There's a YouTube channel called News Nation with educated, authentic media representatives. People who went to school to become media personalities, right? That's their job. In February, they broke the 2 million subscriber milestone. Well, since this story broke, it's estimated that they have now over 17 million subscribers, okay? Just want to point that out to you. This is a legitimate, let me air quote that, legitimate media source, a legitimate media outlet, okay? So News Nation has a reporter that works for them, and his name is Brian Entin. A News Nation reporter was the one who revealed that Jake Haros admitted to killing baby Emmanuel and dumping his body after being deceived by a confidential informant in jail. Brian Entin, the guy who went to school for this, no keyboard warrior, as all of a sudden we're being called, but an actual reporter from News Nation. He reported it. Not only did he report it, but last night he said, I stand by my story. This was a Perkins operation. Now, that being said, for those of you that are new to the channel and don't know, I used to be a gang member. I used to be involved in criminality. For the majority of my life, I was. At the age of 19, I was in my neighborhood celebrating the baptism of one of my homeboys' sons. As we were there in front of some apartments, we noticed a car full of grown-ass men. I was 19. We noticed a car full of grown-ass men staring at us. I approached the car. The car took off. The car came back a total of 3 times. The victims in that car told the cops under questioning that they came into my neighborhood to put in work on guys from my neighborhood. Well, the 3rd time they came, they parked the car a mile away and came on foot with weapons and approached us. When the dust settled, me, a 19-year-old man, I had shot and killed a 29-year-old man that came to put in work. And one of the local media outlets reported that it was a drive-by shooting. None of us were in a car. So when I hear this whole keyboard warriors and all this stuff, it's mind-blowing to me. Brian Enton is a respected journalist. He reported a Perkins operation was put in play. Now, there are a lot of things that are being done by people doing tours of the home and, getting into the property line and all. That's wrong. Anybody that knows anything about crime and crime scenes knows you don't want to taint the crime scene unless you are intentionally trying to cover something up. So I can get the DA and law enforcement's frustration at that. But how is it that right now, as of today, because of yesterday's news conference, trip out on this, because of yesterday's news conference, you know who the face, the monster is, the face of who the monster is in this case right now? On the Tira podcast. Yeah, it's not Jake anymore. Jake's not the bad guy. He's not the fucking monster. Rebecca? No, not Rebecca. Ahmed Belloso on the Tira is now the monster, the boogeyman of the case. I think that's very, very irresponsible. I think the DA and authorities could have reached out to Ahmed and other people that they feel maybe are going too far or doing too much and telling them, hey, can you rein it in a little bit? We don't want to destroy this case. It's known. I thought everybody knew. The authorities will have information and not release it because they may want to utilize that same thing again. And so I get them not wanting to say, yes, we enacted a Perkins operation because they may have wanted to try that again. Now that Jake knows, he's not going to trust anyone. He's not going to slip up and talk to anyone. So I get that. But when it was reported and for them to turn around and say it's all a lie, when we have Brian Enton confirming, his sources have confirmed to him that this really happened, him standing by it after this press conference, I think people should really question why the authorities are not saying, hey, you know what? Yeah, the cover's blown and we're very upset. This was wrong. This shouldn't have happened because now one of the tools that they were using to investigate this matter is no longer available. It's no longer on the table. I get that. But to mislead the public and have them in my comment section, to have them in any other content creators' comment section saying that we're lying and that we're spreading false news, fake news, that's not right. I'm not going to change what I'm doing. I'm dedicated to reporting whatever is going on, the facts as I see them, the facts as they are presented. This dude, Jake, shouldn't have been on the streets. Baby Emmanuel should be alive. What that existence would be, when we see those pictures of him, I don't think he was in much better shape than his sister. He just hadn't been strangled yet to the point of needing a feeding tube. And I know that sounds brutal, but it is. It is. The treatment that baby received was brutal. And this is something that I'm going to be emotional about. And I'm not going to be apologizing for it either. The authorities are wrong here. And something that I want to add. This sheriff is going to be running for governor, apparently. If this sheriff is going to praise mainstream media and say that mainstream media is the only accurate and legitimate and trustworthy source, I hope you maintain that same tone when you're running for governor and the media turns on you and they support whatever liberal you're running against. I hope you do not change your tone about the media, because as of right now, us, the people who really care about Baby Emmanuel, want to see the truth come out, want to see him found, and want to see this couple prosecuted, having us be the bad guys, and you want to praise the local media and the mainstream media, fine. But you painted yourself into a corner, Sheriff. And DA, the district attorney. If the mainstream media reports something you don't like, don't call them fake. Whatever you do, don't call them untrustworthy either. You painted yourself into a corner. Stick to it. Meanwhile, the rest of us, we are going to share what we find out. I'm never going to be trying to blow the case. I'm not a cop. But as things are presented, I will tell the story and I will give my interpretation based upon my decades of incarceration and criminality. I will give the opposite side of the coin. I will give my experience on what's going to happen in court, the processes. And I will continue to shed light on the fact that baby Emmanuel should be alive today. People made mistakes. How about keeping the camera and keeping the focus on the people that made serious mistakes, like the judge? And I'm just curious, when the judge overrode the DA's recommendation and gave him 1 day basically incarceration and joint suspension, why wasn't that appealed to the Ninth Circuit? Why wasn't it appealed to a higher court? Why did the DA just say, okay, you really don't have a leg to stand on when you're trying to be holier than thou and point at that judge? I believe you could have appealed his decision. That I'm not an expert on. But somebody should talk to an attorney. And that's another thing. People are talking about us, guys that, like, Ahmed did, I believe, 23 years in prison. I did over 24 years in prison. We kind of have an expertise when it comes to incarceration and court proceedings. What we went through. I don't know what his controlling case was. Mine, unfortunately, because of my poor decision making and my horrible decision to take a man's life, I know about what happens in court proceedings when there's a murder. So it's when we speak, we're speaking from life experiences. There was an attorney the night before this court hearing, and this lawyer was saying that they were going to be released, that there was not enough evidence and everything was going to be dropped. You don't need a court hearing in order to drop the charges. I heard it, and people were saying, oh, the people were running around on TikTok and everywhere else saying it was because an attorney said it. There's an attorney now saying that Rebecca's innocent and probably won't do time. So why did she buy the hacksaw? We're just going to overlook that? All the blood in the house, the hacksaw had nothing to do with it. Like, people need to stop, man. I have good intentions. Amatira has now said, because of whatever pressure, he said he was asked. I don't know who asked him to stop doing coverage, but he said he's no longer going to do coverage. I don't think that's right. I think he should continue to do coverage. Don't go to the scene. Don't go to the property. Go to the courthouse. Stay outside of the courthouse. Or if you're going to go inside, don't take your microphone. Don't take your cameras. Go in there and observe and come out and give us your observations. A lot of people are looking to Amatira. There's a lot of people hating, and I find that very strange. He's reporting on what these monsters did, and somehow, again, Jake and Rebecca are no longer the monsters. It's Ahmed Belloso. It's on the Tira podcast. It's those of us who are talking about it online, but it's not News Nation. Of course not. It's not them. They have media training. They went to school, but they're the source of the whole Perkins. They're the source of the whole he confessed. And people are saying he didn't confess. He didn't confess to the authorities. But when you tell a confidential informant exactly what happened, and I think he was still lying there, I don't believe it was accidental. That's a confession. I don't understand why people don't understand what a confession is. When people go to Catholic Church and they do a confession, that's not a cop. It's still a confession, right? Anyways, I don't want to drag this on. I think you guys get the point. I'm still going to be here. A lot of us, we're not going anywhere. And as long as Brian Enton sticks to his story, I'm sticking to it. If he retracts it and says, you know, an apology, then I will do the same thing. But in the meantime, stay tuned. That's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.